Hi there, welcome to Bio24's lecture on microbes and the human body. This lecture is based on some very preliminary and early research in the field, as this particular field has just started being discovered. From what we know of right now, our bodies have roughly 10 times more microbial cells than human cells. Some estimates indicate it's the same number of microbe cells as human cells, and others indicate 10 times more. If that's the case, which most evidence indicates it's 10 times more, then we have roughly 10 to the 13th cells in our body, but there are 10 to the 14th microbial cells. Now that's by cell number, not by weight. Because most microbes are like viruses or bacteria, by weight, they're only roughly 2 to 5 pounds of our total body weight. However, if you consider the fact that there are so many different types of microbes with so many different types of genes and proteins that they can make, compared to our cells, which are all one species, human, then they have so much more capacity to generate lots of different products from many different genes for each one of us. I had a student once tell me that this kind of sounds like human bodies are in fact an ecosystem or a rainforest. And it's kind of nice to sort of think about it that way, because we have many, many organisms living on and within us, enabling us to act as a healthy species. The reason why we have so many microbes is because the human body produces a favorable environment for many microbes. This is the source of nutrients and moisture. We also stabilize pH and temperature and salt concentration for them, and we provide many different surfaces on which they can grow. To understand why we have so many different microbes, scientists began running experiments to see what would happen if organisms did not engage and interact with microbes. And here we have a table summarizing some of their evidence. Most of it boils down to a few key features. One of those is that with organisms that have intestines and digestive tracts, microbes play an extremely important role in helping us digest our food. In doing so, they actually provide a significant source of nutrients and vitamins, because whatever they digest can be absorbed by our own body. A second very important feature that microbes play in and on our body is that they stimulate the development of our host defenses. It allows our immune system to stay strong because they constantly bombard our immune system in a very weak and naive way in order to keep it active and alert. Not only does it help stimulate our immune system, but it also competes against potential pathogens. You only have so much space on your skin or your body, and so if a potential pathogen were to get onto your skin or body, that not only has to try to invade your body, but it also has to compete against the bacteria and other microbes that are already there. Most of the microbes in our body, and the ones that you have right now, engage in what's referred to as a mutualistic or commensal relationship. Mutualistic means that we help them because we provide them with food and a home, and they help us. And in that case, you can hear that they provide us with vitamins and nutrients, or they can provide us with stronger host defenses in keeping pathogens at bay. That's a mutualistic relationship. However, there are commensal relationships as well. Commensal relationships are when a microbe gets the advantage of a home and food and doesn't harm us or help us in any way. And this could be some microbes living on our skin that don't really do much for us. These microbes that live permanently in and on our skin and in our bodies are what we refer to as resident microflora. So they reside in our bodies, and even when we shower or brush our teeth, we're reducing their number, but we never completely eliminate them, and they grow back. As I mentioned, our resident microflora include many different bacteria, fungi, protozoa, viruses, and even some insects, some tiny little mites or things that live in our hair and so forth. These microbes change with age, diet, health, hygiene, hormone levels, and any drugs that we happen to be on, like hormonal therapy or birth control pills or antibiotics, of course, would change them quite dramatically. And even cholesterol medication and so forth can also change the drugs that we have on, or the bacteria that we have on our body. Most of the human body is microbe-free because most microbes are destroyed upon contact. That portion of the human body is many of our organs, our blood, lymphatic system. None of that naturally has microbes in it in a healthy state. In fact, if you were to get microbes in those organs or bloodstream or lymphatic system, that could easily result in illness and death. There are microbes that live in the air or on surfaces or on your food that may try to gain residence on your skin or in your mouth or other areas of your body. But if they're not well adapted to your body, then they're not going to be there for a very long time because your body will eliminate them and the resident microflora will outcompete them. Those microbes that are only present for a short period of time and are easily removed from your body are referred to as transients. Transient microflora are easily removed because they're not adapted to you. The resident microflora will compete with the transient microflora for space, nutrients, toxins, and other things, and by competing with them, can eliminate the transient microflora from your body. Your body actually encourages resident microflora growth in order to have them and help them compete against the transients. A great example of this is in the female vagina. Women produce estrogen as part of their sexual hormones. Estrogen, when released into the vagina, causes the formation and secretion of a sugar known as glycogen into the vaginal space. There, that sugar is consumed by a bacterial cell called lactobacilli. The lactobacilli feeds off of the glycogen and ferments it, leading to acidic pH in the vagina. Acidic vagina pH will prevent the overgrowth of the yeast known as Candida albicans. This is a different kind of yeast than you'd find in bread or beer. Candida albicans is the kind of yeast that forms yeast infections in the vagina and in the mouth. So it turns out your body actually produces a sugar specifically for lactobacilli in order for the lactobacilli to grow very well to keep the pathogen Candida albicans from growing. Similarly, in both men and women, the E. coli bacteria, which naturally reside in your gut, help you digest food and provide you with a vitamin K. That E. coli produces a protein which prevents the growth of pathogens such as Salmonella and Shigella, which can cause severe food poisoning. When a microbe invades the host and bypasses host defenses, this is called an infection. When the microbe grows inside the tissues. But because of host defenses and your resident microflora, not all contact results in an infection. And not all infections result in disease. You need a very special and rare case to result in an infectious disease. In a few cases, resident microflora can become pathogenic and cause an infection in your body. This happens if you ever have E. coli from your intestines enter your urethra and bladder, causing a urinary tract infection. The E. coli in your intestines is very helpful. However, when it enters a different part of your body, it can end up causing an infection there. Alternatively, microbes that live in and on your body can end up becoming pathogenic if your immune system becomes weaker. This happens in the case of AIDS patients. When their immune system is depleted, they can end up having a compromised immune system that allows microbes that used to be mutualistic or commensal to turn into deadly pathogens. Let's talk a little bit about how you might acquire your microflora and where on your body you can find them. The microflora in and on your body are unique to you. So they are only found in and on your body and on no one else. And that's because as you've aged and grown, those microbes all over and in your body have evolved with you. So they have a very specific and unique genetic trace that is unique to you. In fact, they are as unique as a fingerprint because of this coevolution that you do with those microbes. You first acquired these microbes when you were a newborn. While you're in the uterus, you do not have any microbes in and on your body. The placental barrier is fairly effective at keeping microbes from entering a developing fetus. You get exposed to your first microbes when you're born and you pass through the birth canal or the vagina. There, you'll be exposed to streptococci, staphylococci, and lactobacilli. Those microbes coat the skin and enter the eyes, nose, and mouth. Then, when an infant breastfeeds, microbes on the skin of the mother end up entering the mouth and digestive tract and colonizing the intestines there. When an individual switches from breast milk to formula, or from formula to whole food, the types of microbes that enter the body change, and your resident microflora change. However, by around year 2, most of the microbes that you'll have in and on your body are pretty permanent for the rest of your life. While some people have natural births, other women have cesarean sections or C-sections, where an incision is made in the abdomen and the baby is removed directly from the abdomen without passing through the vagina. In those cases, the microbes that are introduced are different, but after about 6 months, there is no difference in the microbes on a naturally birthed baby versus a C-section baby. Similarly, some women can never breastfeed, and their babies are fed only off of formula. They've found that there are specific sugars in breast milk that can influence microbes in the gut and feed specific microbes that are advantageous to a newborn. However, after a year or 2, after babies have transferred into natural whole foods, the microbes in and on their intestines are no different, regardless of whether or not they were breastfed or formula fed. In the next section, we'll talk about microbes in the adult.